Georgia Fuddle, the Great Detective. Chapter 8. The Case of Mrs. Perkins' Purse. The weather was warm and a gentle breeze blew across Tittlepond, which kept the villagers cool. Georgia was sitting in the vicarage garden, stroking Osborne, as Zoot ran around getting some fresh air. The detecting business had been a bit quiet in the last week. All Georgia had had to detect was a lost bag of sweets in Petrock's wardrobe and half a cheese and onion pie from the fridge. Her mum. Petrock came out of the house. He was bored of playing computer games. He kicked a ball around for a bit until Osborne raced off with it. "What are you doing?" he asked Georgia. "Enjoying the sun," she answered. "Not doing any useless detecting?" he continued sarcastically. "It isn't useless. I've helped a few people." "But you haven't solved any real crimes or caught any criminals yet," he mocked. "So you're not much of a detective at all." "At least I don't sit in my room all day playing stupid computer games," retorted Georgia. "If you ask me, this whole detective thing is one big silly game. Useless." With that, Petrock stalked off. He was obviously still annoyed with her about his sweet stash. Georgia felt like crying. She was a real detective, she was. And to prove it, she was going to go for a walk and find a serious crime to solve. That would show Petrock. She got Osborne to drop the ball, which wasn't easy because he thought she wanted to play. "You're supposed to be my faithful, obedient hound," she declared as she put his lead on. In a couple of minutes, the two of them were trotting round the streets of Tittlepond. Georgia was looking for criminals. Osborne was looking for cats. Osborne was more successful than Georgia. High Street was bustling with people, but they were all just going about their normal business. Mr. Greenberg was coming out of the grocer's. Miss Pearson was peering into the window of Margaret's Modes. Georgia turned left at the end of the street and strolled round to the new houses. They were all neatly built, semi-detached with small gardens. Some of the gardens were prettier than others, thought Georgia, as she slowly walked along. She wasn't sure why some people wanted to grow bins and car parts there instead of flowers. There weren't many people about. At the end of the row of houses, she cut through the little alleyway to take her back to the other end of the high street. She nearly bumped straight into Mrs. Perkins as she came out of the alley. "Oops-a-daisy," said Mrs. Perkins. "Sorry, Mrs. Perkins," apologised Georgia. "Never mind, love, I should look where I'm going. Too busy thinking about my shopping. Bread, kippers and cabbage, that's today's list." With that, Mrs. Perkins marched back into the alley as Georgia and Osborne set off in the other direction. Almost at once, a boy in a black leather jacket and a red t-shirt ran past her and nearly fell over Osborne. "Keep your stupid dog out the way," he snarled and ran on. Georgia bent down to give Osborne a pat because he wasn't stupid. "Help! Oh, help!" came a faint cry from the alleyway behind them. Georgia raced back the way she had come, dragging Osborne with her. Poor Mrs. Perkins was sitting on the floor with her handbag about 5 metres away, open, and the contents spilling onto the tarmac. "Ran off with my purse and phone," wailed Mrs. Perkins. Mr. Greenberg appeared. He'd heard the cry for help too. "Oh dear, oh my," he exclaimed. "Mrs. Perkins, are you all right?" "Just a bruised bottom, dear," she replied, making him blush. "If you could give me a hand up, I'll be ever so grateful." With Georgia on one side and Mr. Greenberg on the other, she was soon on her feet again. "Well, we'd better go to the police station," said Georgia in her best official voice. Before long they were at the police station, having a hot cup of tea and telling P.C. Braithwaite what had happened and describing the man in the red t-shirt and the black leather jacket. He said he would investigate as soon as he had put the report into his computer and seen Mrs. Perkins home. Georgia left the police station after rescuing Osborne from all the fuss he was getting from the police sergeant. On her way back down the high street, she jumped when she saw a man walking towards her in a red t-shirt and a black leather jacket. His face was different to the purse stealer, though. Then she saw another red t-shirt and a black leather jacket in the other direction. But this one was much bigger than the purse stealer and had a beard. Georgia had seen 3 more before she arrived home and was getting a bit confused. She was even more perplexed when she walked into the vicarage. There was Reverend Fuddle serving up fish and chips, dressed in a red t-shirt and a black leather jacket.